The great camp of the Greek army was exceedingly silent. The terrible omen uttered by the seer Calchas affected all the Achaeans. After all, to demand of a man the sacrifice of his beloved daughter seemed inconceivable. In his tent, the great sovereign Agamemnon was dismayed at his terrible fate imposed by the ladies of destiny. His greatest desire had always been to have all the Greek nobles under his command, seeking a common goal, but he was not prepared to pay the horrendous price needed to fulfill his ambitions. The king of Mycenae talked to his brother Menelaus and said that he would not sacrifice his beloved daughter just to rescue his brother's wife, who had been kidnapped by the Trojans, and he stated that his wife Clytemnestra would never allow one of her daughters to be sacrificed. Menelaus, who initially understood his brother's pain, was more incisive, showing the truth that his brother's pain did not allow him to decipher. He said that the thousands of men who were there were someone's sons, and that father sent his most precious treasure to fight and sacrifice for the honor of the people. These patriarchs put into his hands the most formidable generation of young men that Greece had ever produced, to shed their sweat and blood for the glory and pride of their land. The most powerful man in Greece wept like a child, while his brother tried to console him. He knew that there was no other way but to carry out the will of the gods. Agamemnon knew that his wife would not agree with that decision, so he decided to deceive her. In his letter to the queen, Agamemnon called for the presence of the princess Iphigenia in the military camp to celebrate her marriage to the renowned hero Achilles. Menelaus and the other Greeks were pleased with Agamemnon's brave decision, but Odysseus remained suspicious. In the evening, another messenger hastily departed from the tent of the paramount chief, unaware that Menelaus and Odysseus were watching him. They intercepted the messenger, carrying a message for the queen of Mycenae, ordering her not to bring her daughter to the shores of Aeolus. A short time later, Iphigenia and Queen Clytemnestra arrived at the camp of the Achaeans. They realized that the reception was very different from what they had imagined, as it resembled a funeral. Agamemnon pressed his daughter against his chest, and many tears fell from his eyes. The princess was surprised, as she had never seen her father cry. The queen told her not to worry, as he was thrilled to give his beloved daughter to another man. Suddenly, in a fluke, Achilles passed nearby, and seeing him, the queen congratulated the man on his betrothal. But Achilles did not seem to understand what was happening, as he had not established any marriage. Achilles quickly realized Agamemnon's plot. The latter had used Achilles' name to lure his daughter into sacrifice. Feeling outraged, he revealed the whole truth to the queen. Clytemnestra knelt at Achilles' feet, and, taking his hand, begged him to defend her daughter against such a treacherous act. Achilles assured the queen that he would defend Iphigenia and her honor, even if it cost him his life. The queen ran to Agamemnon's tent, where the priests who would organize the sacrifice were already gathered. Clytemnestra embraced her daughter to protect her, and told her everything her father had prepared. The young princess could not believe that her father would be capable of such a thing. Iphigenia begged her father not to let them sacrifice her, as she was innocent and had nothing to do with that dispute. But, consumed with sorrow, Agamemnon said that it was the will of the gods, and before them, even the mightiest of kings was powerless. Achilles suddenly entered the tent, sword drawn, and said that no one would touch the princess while he was alive. He also said that, if they killed him, the whole expedition would be ruined, as it was prophesied that the Greeks would only achieve victory if he fought on the walls of Troy. The young princess seemed to be moved by the wisdom of the gods, and Achilles put down his sword. She said she would agree to be sacrificed, for on this depended the lives of all the Greek warriors, and of the sons of Greece who would shed their blood on Trojan soil. She would give her blood on behalf of all the women of Greece. Achilles took Iphigenia's hands and told her that she was the most virtuous woman he had ever known. He added that he would have had the highest of honors if he had been her husband, if that had been the will of the gods. Iphigenia asked her mother to forgive her father, as he had no other choice but to obey the will of the gods. The whole army was moved to see the princess haughtily climb the stairs that led to the altar of sacrifice. Agamemnon placed the dagger around the neck of his daughter, who calmly offered it. She asked the goddess Artemis to accept the supreme sacrifice on behalf of all Greece. The king, letting out a great cry of pain, slashed the neck of his beloved daughter. Shortly afterward, Agamemnon laid the inert body of Iphigenia on the altar. A strong wind began to blow towards Troy, and the thousands of warriors on the beaches of Iolus celebrated the heroic sacrifice of Princess Iphigenia. Agamemnon, still covered in his daughter's blood, swore that Troy would be ruined and that he would use its ashes to build a monument to Iphigenia's sacrifice.